Two white dudes, one black chick. Your reverse Oreo of cinematic pontification. The pretentious movie snobs.
Put your weight on it! 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 Put your weight on it!
And we're back.
Hey. Love that
Hello.
intro.
I love that.
We're everybody out there in Podland. We were all just talking about how we're all tired and don't want to do a podcast right now. So sit back and enjoy, because it's going to be a good one. I
That's
think.
just the kind of attitude that you want to know about, that you want to hear in your podcast.
Yeah, they need to hear everything behind the scenes. Well, you know, it was Super Bowl Sunday, and we all kind of, some of us, Kimberly and I, were out at various places and probably drank a little and ate a little bad food and rushed home to do the show. And Kent is Kent is in an iron lung, actually, and he's in traction, so I can understand why he wouldn't want to do it tonight.
Actually, I was watching the dub of a Chinese movie.
Oh.
Wow. Okay.
It's a real good movie, actually.
Okay,
Infernal
well, good.
Affairs.
So,
Have any of y'all seen that?
Infernal. Yeah, no, I have not. But isn't that Scorsese movie based on that one?
Yes, Scorsese's movie Departed is a adaptation,
yes.
or a remake, though Scorsese's movie fills in all the blanks that anyone who's familiar with like Hong Kong cinema knows that cheating and skipping the actual parts of making people care about your characters is like a Chinese cinema tradition. They'll just have a scene and play music on it so that it should be emotional without ever doing any underpinning sort of thing. So, yeah, they're both really worth watching. Scorsese's movie and the original Infernal Affairs.
Yeah, I'd meant to see that one. It's chambered on my list or something, but I haven't my queue. But I have not seen it yet. Very good.
I wouldn't watch the dub.
Okay, well, and by the way, that was Kent Conrad, and I'm Dave Smith.
That's
of the
right.
Pretentious Movie Snobs, and Kimberly Blagrove. Say hi, Kimberly.
Hi, this is Kimberly Blagrove. Hi, everybody.
The nappy wanderer who takes lots of naps on her wanderings.
And I'm from explodedgoat.com, which just had a major relaunch this week. Totally new redesign. It looks spiffy. It's exciting for me.
I'm excited.
Excellent, and it's got very low carbs too. So all you people out there,
It's a paleo
that are
film
watching
site.
those things. Good. Oh, good. Yeah, it's a caveman site. Good. Okay, so you're safe. All right. This is the kind of humor you get, folks, when we're all really tired.
I can't even fake a giggle right there to help out. Okay, anyone
I think I have
anything?
one. I think I have one of you giggling somewhere. I'm going to throw it
that's
in there.
very good.
There'll be a giggle.
Who watched what this week, my friends?
I didn't watch much. I watched our main movie, Argo. I did watch that.
We all watched Argo.
Yeah.
Good. That's a start. I actually watched a very independent film. Not sure what made me stop on it. I like to do the Netflix, like the roulette. I'm just going through, and if something catches my eye, take a look. I happened to stop on this one. It was called Rid of Me.
Cool.
And I popped it in. It doesn't get very high ratings on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, but I have a theory as to why, because I think it was actually not a bad film. I think well written. I don't like judging a screenplay that I haven't read, like everybody else does. Oh, that was a great script. Really? Did you read it? Well, no. Well, how do you know it was a great script? It could be completely different from the movie you saw.
Yeah,
but anyway, I have a feeling
that's always such sort of a facile sort of criticism that people give when they don't actually know anything. Similarly to, I can't believe they filmed this thing. Because if you ask any screenwriter, no, they didn't. They didn't film what I wrote. They did something completely different.
Yeah, exactly. I think this one might have. I think it probably started out as a good script, most likely, and it actually was an entertaining film. But you know what kind of messes it up is cinematography. It looks like they lit every scene with like 8 flood lamps. They just rolled it all. It was very like, it looked like a game show. The entire movie, there's not nary a shadow to be seen.
So it's all really high key lighting.
Super high key lighting, shot in HD. Looked like someone probably sold their car to get the money to shoot it. It seems like a homemade production, but pretty good. I never want to be a dick, as a pretentious movie snob. I don't want to be a dick and like totally rip someone's movie, because obviously it was made with love. I think the lead actress was an associate producer. But let me tell you, the opening hook really, it made me stay with it, because you got a woman walking through a grocery store, another woman comes by, some punkish looking woman, made up, like punky little eyeliner or whatever, they kind of you kind of get the impression they know each other. Mm-hmm. The punky woman reaches into her panties, pulls up a handful of menstrual blood and wipes it across her face.
Hey.
Oh,
So
God.
I was like, okay, I'm in. What else you got in this movie? So
Yeah, you can keep that one.
Oh, yeah. We didn't even
but that's
know about
actually the
that.
most outrageous scene in the movie. And then it kind of goes on to sort of, part of it is explaining how that happened. And you're kind of like, yeah, I don't really blame her so much for doing that. But it's about a woman who's, she moves back to her husband's hometown, and his friends there kind of box her out. They don't like her. And they he ends up leaving her for, rekindles an old relationship. And it's just like her sort of a journey of self-discovery. But it's funny, and it's, pretty crazy at some points. But yeah, the photography was just really hard to, it's like, oof. And maybe the editor might have been a little too close to the production too, and didn't want to cut some stuff that probably should have been cut.
Is there any scene where the lead sits down with a friend of hers, maybe even an impromptu friend, and says, I don't know where it all went wrong?
No, actually,
Damn.
there's no flashbacks like that. Although she has a lot of things where she's imagining what she's going to do to somebody, and then you assume that she also imagined that, but later you find out, oh shit, she actually did do that, and it was pretty funny. But yeah, some of the actors, not so good, but the lead woman was pretty good. Like I say, probably hurt by its super flat photography and kind of clunky editing here and there, and just clunky scenes. But gotta say, overall, pretty good situations, dialogue. The character was kind of likable. So I actually kind of would recommend that. See if you agree with me. I also think, though, they made a screenwriting error in there. I think the halfway point in this movie is actually where the first act should be. Mm-hmm. I think they extended their first act to the half, and then the second half of the movie is crammed into like 45 minutes, which whatever.
So like the first half is flabby, the second half is underdeveloped, sort of thing.
Yeah, the thing that happens in the midway point, I'm like, this is really kind of an act one ending thing. This is what her husband says he wants to leave her. I'm like, this kind of feels like end of act one. So interesting that they're still able to hold my interest. It was funny. There's a pretty funny character who works with her at the candy shop. Very goody two shoes woman who's very very a lot of funny dialogue. But it's got not bad. But yeah, the menstrual blood thing, good hook. I was in.
It's very disturbing. So you're saying that it's something that people should watch? Is that what I'm hearing?
I think you should give it a chance, even though the ratings are not so good on IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes. But I think the photography hurts it. It makes it seem like a game show or something. Like, what is wrong with this? So they need to shit can the cinematographer on this one, and for their next movie, probably go with someone else.
It is amazing how a little lighting, and when I say a little, it's very difficult to do it well. A little bit of lighting really makes the difference between something that looks cinematic and something that looks like you just grabbed your camcorder, went onto the street and shot it.
Mm-hmm. That might have even been it might have been more Blair Witchy.
Just use natural light everywhere.
But this was like super unnatural light. And there's a scene where she sneaks up and she's listening to her husband talking to this girl that he used to. She sneaks up, but she's literally looks like she's 3 feet away from them with her face fully lit, looking through the bars as they're talking on the patio. I'm like, can't they fucking see her? What's going on? So a lot of things like that, but some technical things that were clunky that kind of got in the way of it being better. Interesting situation that it could have been, if probably a better editor got a hold of it, probably could have been better. Okay, I think I've made my point with that one. Mm-hmm. I should probably just move on. And probably.
We may have to.
Yeah. Well, does anyone have any entertainment news? Did anything happen in the world of entertainment this week that made you just need to talk about it pretentiously?
Well, I know Ben Affleck got his DGA award for Best Director, I think. How do those work? Do they give out one award, or do they give out a couple to people they think deserve them? I'm not sure, because I don't pay attention to those things other than Oscars. Okay, well, he won one. And I was, this could probably segue into us talking about Argo, which I liked a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's our movie of this week, Argo.
Yeah.
Which is directed and starring Ben Affleck. It's a movie about the Canadian the American hostages in the latter days of the Carter administration in Iran, and how 6 of them escaped from the American embassy and were holed up in the Canadian embassy. And this is about the CIA plot to get them out. That was
right.
a little description of what the movie was for the people, so they can know and have context. It's what people do on movie shows.
So, What were people's thoughts
so well,
on
Ben
it?
Affleck, I wanted to say, I just wanted to say, I just for the DGA thing going back is he was actually very humble. He said that I don't think this means I'm a director yet, but I think I'm on my way. And I thought, yeah, good. But I thought this film was good enough to make him a director. I thought it was pretty. It was
Well, that's the
he
thing
handled it well.
that I liked about Argo. Oh, there's many things I liked about it, but I liked how traditional the filmmaking was.
I made that exact same note, which means Kent is brilliant because he's
right.
saying the same point I'm saying.
I mean, my favorite thing is when they said, it's
Kimberly's shaking her head over there.
Ben Affleck says, "We know a makeup guy who's worked with us." Cut to scene of a movie with his makeup. We need John Chambers on the set. Cut to man walking through Hollywood lot. It's bad to the basics filmmaking, but it's effective. You know who
It
he
was,
is. The second
it's
you see
back.
him.
It is back to basics. It was mature, I would say. It's not like McG style. We don't need to see a crane, some crane shot with rap music coming in through the doorway to introduce us to this makeup artist or whatever. It's just, you're right. Cut to, a lot of cut to. It's great.
It was basic. I mean, again, just from a story perspective, in the beginning, I really didn't feel much for the six. I guess they were hostages because again, they were. I mean, I think there was one scene when they were sitting around a table drinking red wine. So there really wasn't any kind of, they were safe. Whereas their colleagues were being, blindfolded and tied up, and these guys, had escaped and were, I will say that there were some parts of it I don't want to say I didn't agree with, but I just thought were okay. But I enjoyed it. I mean, I think everything kind of came together towards the end. I mean, that was incredibly tense. And as a Canadian and as a person who's traveled a lot and seen, and had, experiences where, these people at borders are very intimidating. So I loved it for that reason. I thought it was very tense. It was very well made, especially towards the end. I think some of the scenes in the beginning, they were in there for a reason to make me appreciate the ending more. But I didn't really feel that much tension in the very beginning when they were, holed up in this, what was it, the Canadian ambassador in his home in the beginning. Anyway, I really didn't feel much for them. But as we got to know them, they were great. So it was a good. I think Ben did a great job. I think he's a great director. So.
Yeah, it's come a long way. I did not see this Geely movie, but everybody says it is just a gigantic turd. And, to come from that, I wonder what his process was in doing those films and then coming to something like Argo. I wonder what he, did he start reading filmmaking books? I mean, what was he doing? I want to know.
Not to crap on your point, but he didn't direct Geely.
Oh, okay. What did he direct that was terrible?
The first movie he directed was Gone, Baby Gone, which was quite good. It starred his brother. It was a crime story based on, I can't remember the name of the novelist off the top of my head, but that was a really decent thriller film. Then the next movie he made was The Town, which I haven't seen.
So these are all good then. He didn't direct any bad movies.
No.
He's a good director. He's a better director than an actor, to be perfectly honest.
I thought he directed Geely for some reason.
No, that's Martin Brest.
But
okay. Oh, boy. Martin Brest, Hot and Cold, actually. Didn't he do Beverly Hills Cop, I think?
Yes, he did Beverly Hills Cop, Scent of a Woman. He hasn't done anything since Geely.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Geely, I guess,
I think
crashed his career.
I think...
Which one?
Was it his acting choices or was it his relationship that really kind of put him in a bad light, I think. I think it was a mix between the two. But he's a terrific director, and I agree. I've watched all three. I've watched Gone, Baby Gone fairly recently with Casey Affleck, and that was very well done. And what was the other one? The Town, which was great with Jeremy Renner. And he's definitely, his strength is in the directing, but he does well when he acts in the movies that he directs, if that makes any sense.
Well, sure. I think it maybe he understands his limitations and works towards them because he's fairly flat as an actor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But this is a role that required him to be fairly flat.
Apparently, yeah. Yeah, it seemed to be okay. I noticed he couldn't help putting at least one shot of him with his shirt off in that one scene. Couldn't resist.
He had a
But
scene
hey,
with his shirt off?
just one. He's just getting dressed,
I don't
in the
even
hotel.
remember this.
He's
I
just
don't
put on a
remember.
shirt, but he had to show his torso as he's pulling his shirt on.
Great torso.
So I had to pause and masturbate, and then
Oh,
I watched it on my computer.
disgusting.
What?
Oh, you know what? That's just going to be an ongoing, running.
Man,
gag.
we got to start making video podcasts.
Not while Dave is doing whatever he's doing while watching those movies. But I will say that there is a scene in the town where he's again shirtless, and I think he's doing chin-ups, and that's quite nice too. So, no, he's got some attributes. So why not show them while he still has it?
Yeah, but handled this subject well. There's a lot of different. It's historical, obviously. He's got multiple countries, things going on in multiple countries. He's got different media thrown. He's got the news footage thrown in there. A lot of characters to kind of keep track of. A lot of factions at work here. And it was all pulled in really well. You guys are kind of too young to actually remember the actual hostage crisis, right? I do remember actually going out in my elementary school to the fence to put a yellow ribbon on the chain link fence for the hostages. Aww. So I actually did that.
Wow.
So cute.
That's a great story.
Yeah, I was born while it was happening. So.
Yeah, and the Hollywood sign that had fallen into disrepair. Did you see that shot of the Hollywood
that
sign?
I like that even though it's inaccurate, the Hollywood sign had been fixed by then.
A year before.
Yeah, but still,
one.
that's the sort of thing I think is interesting, that he plays a little fast and loose with things like the Alan Arkin character. He didn't exist. There was somebody else who was another makeup guy pretending to be a producer. I did a little reading. When I say I did a little research, I read the trivia section on IMDb on Argo, and of course, as always happens, a lot of the real life details are more interesting than stuff that could make into the film. Like the movie, the actual Argo script was actually a script based on a Roger Zelazny novel, The Lord of Light, and the storyboards that the real Tony Mendoza used were drawn by Jack Kirby. So he had you guys know who Jack Kirby is, right?
I'm drawing a blank on Jack Kirby.
Jack Kirby, he created every Marvel character with Stan Lee.
Right, okay.
Yeah, Jack Kirby was doing storyboards in L.A. at the time because he'd quit Marvel in the early 70s, I think. And so the actual the material that was actually done in real life was done by Jack Kirby, one of the great comic book artists of all time that neither of you have heard of or respect enough.
We don't.
My nerd
obviously.
trivia goes unappreciated.
Well, I was going to say, I liked Alan Arkin's performance. I find his performance to be pretty much the same in most movies, to be perfectly honest, but it's still very enjoyable, so I did like it. I believe that Kyle Chandler has become typecast.
He plays the exact same character
government.
in this and in Zero Dark 30.
Exactly. He's playing the same person.
That's right.
I don't know when he became typecast, but
there's another guy. There's another actor that's in both Zero Dark 30 and this one too. It was the guy. He's in Mad Men. He plays like the husband of Betty. He's like a governor or something. He's like a lieutenant governor. I don't know. He's a politician or something. But he was in Zero Dark 30 and that. But he's not featured at all. He has a couple lines in both movies. It's kind of weird. But yeah, that'll get cut. That was really exciting, Dave. Thanks.
So, Dave, let me ask you a screenwriting question. What did you think of Ben Affleck's arc?
Gosh, this might take a few
minutes.
Because
I'm having a. I don't know if I think it was either subtle and interesting or underdeveloped.
Did he have really much?
He did because he starts the movie separated from his family, and he doesn't have any real direction. And the only connection he has with his son is through these cheesy science fiction movies, which proves to be the key and the key to reconnecting with his family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's minor.
Well, keep in mind though, when you're dealing with character arcs, you've got two different types of characters that can have arcs. Really, you've got your mythic heroes who start out like Luke Skywalker, who's a farm boy who by the end of the movie becomes a Jedi Knight. That's a mythic journey. Now, Tony Mendez character in this is really more of a romantic hero, in that romantic heroes are like Dirty Harry and James Bond. Like, they already have their shit together at the beginning. Like, they already know their shit. Call in so-and-so, I need send in Harry, Callahan. They already got their shit together, but they're going to learn a little something along the way. So they never have as big an arc. They don't need to go through this big change necessarily. So yeah, he learned that, he needed to be at home with the kid, I guess, wife and kid.
Yeah.
So that's probably good enough for a romantic hero. They usually just learn one thing, Okay. I think. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
It seemed evident already in my mind. It didn't seem like too big of an arc. He's done what he's known all along. He was going in to get these people out, and again, right towards the last, I don't know how many minutes of the movie, he's like, I'm getting them anyway, I don't care what you say. I mean, it was very, like you said, I think it's very structured, it was very basic. I mean, he followed the rules pretty much, but
oh yes.
yeah, like, you knew he was gonna go in anyway, but I'm sorry, is this a spoiler? I don't know if this is a spoiler. They all die in the end, people.
Let's talk about yeah, talking about spoilers in that Zero Dark 30. Like we were saying, super fresh in the minds of every viewer, and everybody kind of knows Zero Dark 30. I thought it was a little too early maybe to make a movie like that, but this movie, I didn't know if they all got out. Plus the lead character is with them, whereas the lead character in Zero Dark 30 is kicking back in the air conditioning. She's sipping a latte while the SEALs are out. The SEALs that we just met, in Act 3 are out doing all the hard work. But this one, he's with them. So it's a little more, even though, again, like we talked about, or at least I talked about, I keep harping on these things where these movies that have no villain. Same thing here. Who's the villain in Argo? It's a nebulous. It's like Iraq. It's the government.
It's an institutional
Iran.
Sort of villain that doesn't have any real. There's no Darth Vader.
Right.
It's fighting in which maybe if the story was intercut more directly with the whoever the secret police or whatever that were looking for these people, because you have that sort of thing. The clock in the film, and for people listening, a clock is a plot element that is like a clock. It's something that's counting down. It can be a big, digital readout that says 30, 29, and the heroes, get to the one, and that's when they're going to do.
Yeah, or the guy has a timer in his explosive in his head that's going to go off in 17 minutes or whatever, and so you know exactly when the movie's going to end. Or
in this movie, the clock was the shredded documents being put back together.
Yeah, great clock.
Mm-hmm.
That was.
I liked it.
Yeah, and so that was the tension-making element. It's once this information is in the hands of the secret police, they're done.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, of course, they cut it right to the last second, which that's what happens in tense
That's what you're
thrillers.
supposed to do. Exactly. It reminded me of, you guys ever seen No Way Out with Kevin Costner from the late 80s, I believe, maybe early 90s?
No, though I know it's supposed to be great.
It is quite good. There's a similar clock in there. He has got this Polaroid picture of him that was taken, but it was torn off before it was developed, and they're running it through a computer. This was back in the early 90s, and so it's slowly reconstructing, and it's going to be Costner's face. But it was like, oh shit, then they'll know it's him. So it was very similar. I thought it was funny, but that actually apparently was really going on in Argo. The kids actually were assembling pictures. They had child labor. They assembled the shreddings from the embassy when they shredded the documents, and they had pictures of the people that were working there. I thought that was great. I'm a sucker too when at the end of this movie, did you guys watch through the credits?
Yeah, I loved that part.
Yeah,
I love when they show the actual actors. They show the actual characters who the actors were playing. And in this case, holy shit, boy, they looked really a lot like them.
Yeah,
they did. This is the first time I've ever seen Clea Duvall and liked her in a movie too.
What? I was surprised that they chose her for a role like this, because I just remember her from those teen movies. I think The Faculty was what I remember her in.
Yeah, she's always supposed to play a girl who's either a lesbian or one who doesn't know she's a lesbian yet.
Exactly. So this was a different role. She's very kind of that wild, kind of the rebellious type, if I'm not mistaken. And I thought it was a nice little change for her. Mm-hmm. But I have to say, again, the beginning of it really, even how everything was kind of, I don't want to say it was contrived, but it is contrived. That's exactly what they were doing. They're putting together a whole scene. The whole thing where the article in Variety and they had a table read, it just seemed to be put together way too quickly. I don't know what the editorial deadlines are for Variety or anything like that, but it just seemed it seemed to come together a little bit too quickly. I knew they were on a deadline.
Well, that's cinematic license, though.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It didn't bug me because, though, and I this is a little slippery sort of road to go on. I can say it didn't bug me because I know it actually happened, but it doesn't matter if something actually happened. It has to be dramatically feasible. It's irrelevant that the facts are laid out there on the screen if within the story you don't buy them.
Right.
Yeah, and talking about dramatic license, I let me reiterate, because I don't know if I've already iterated. Iterate means repeat, so that would mean repeating.
You'd have to state, then iterate, then reiterate.
Then iterate, and then I could reiterate. Right, but I think I said it in the first podcast. I was talking to those screenwriters out there, and I said, all of you, screenwriters out there, young screenwriters, don't write screenplays. Just stop doing it. But if you're still doing it, I want you to know that do not write a screenplay that doesn't have a villain, because you'll fuck it up. This is Ben Affleck. He's been in a lot of movies. He can get green lights. He's directed 3 movies. So he's earned the right to have a film without a villain in it because he can kind of handle it. And he did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was tension in this movie. Like Zero Dark 30 had very little. This did have a lot of tension because the story was old. I don't know the story. He was with the characters the whole time. And that's why it works. And there's a lot of baton passing of villain duties in these type of movies too. Like the last villain is that dude who they got to get past this last guy.
Yeah.
And so it was great. It all worked. I think it was great.
And that's
little cheesy ending. Yeah.
I don't know if this is a spoiler, but then in that last scene we have the one character who is the most against them doing it. Suddenly the person who can step up and take the
Sure, yeah.
I was talking about that.
Very by the book. It's very traditional.
It is.
And the reason there is this book of rules is because they work when you do them right.
I agree. Yeah, there is a reason for the book.
Yeah.
When we say by the book is good. Don't shun the book.
Yeah, but you're very right. That's exactly what the words I wanted to hear, by the book. But you're right. If it's done effectively, which it was, it works well. So I would say, yeah, anyone who hasn't seen it yet, go watch it. It's a good movie. Again, is it factual? 100% no. Some people I was reading online had issues because they said that this was actually a Canadian mission. Being a Canadian, I should mention that. But they make it sound in the end that the Canadians were trying to take credit for this operation.
You could also say that because it was a secret American operation, the Canadians have just been hogging credit for what Americans have done for 30 years.
Wow. Let's not go into this because, again, we don't know what has really happened behind those.
Just like America, just like the Middle East who showed those Arabs how to get the oil out from under them, we showed you guys how to get that maple syrup out of those trees.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
You guys didn't know. You're just sitting on all these trees with no idea. What do we do with these trees?
We're getting close to our running time. We're trying to make these shows a little shorter so that courtesy for our friends and family who are the only people listening, so they don't have to sit for an hour. We've seen, this is our 5th show. Each week we've seen a movie that's been nominated for an Oscar. We've seen Django Unchained, Silver Linings Playbook, Zero Dark 30, Argo, and Life of Pi. I almost forgot. That's why I went out of order there. So there's another 5 movies that are nominated, but who cares about them? Which of these 5 do you think is most likely to win, and which of these 5 do you think is the best?
Good question. Which is the best, and which do I think is likely to win?
For Best Movie?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Best Picture. They're all nominated.
Well, not Best Director. Well, no, Ben Affleck
Best Picture.
wasn't nominated.
Best Picture.
Oh, Best Picture?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Argo.
Really? Okay.
I personally think it's the darling. It's the media darling.
You think it should win as well? Do you think it's a...
Oh, that's a good question. Should it win is a whole other question. I think it's great. I don't think Zero Dark 30 should win. I don't think... Oh, goodness. I don't think Silver Linings Playbook should win either. I'm going to say I prefer, if any movie were to be win an award, I think Life of Pi. I think it was definitely what was done in that movie was very difficult to do. I like the tension in Argo, between Argo and Life of Pi.
Very good. I'm going to go on record saying I think Lincoln will win, but I think Life of Pi should win, I think, because of the sheer spectacle of it.
You think that Lincoln should win for best movie? I mean, for performance, Daniel
I think it will.
Day-Lewis.
I think it will.
Yeah.
I'm just getting a Lincoln vibe. I don't know.
It's very political, and there's a lot of government. I mean, Zero Dark 30, Lincoln, and
Although, if you guys want,
Argo.
let's whenever I'm pulling away from my mic here. Whenever you really want to check something out, like this type of thing, like who's going to win what. Intrade.com.
iTrade, what am I doing?
What's Intrade?
I'm
Before
go in there
you
right
do that,
now.
Dave, let me get in my selections. I think
Yeah, you go ahead.
of these movies, the two that I would most like to revisit again are Argo and Life of Pi. Zero Dark 30, I felt I got all I could out of it. Django Unchained was really entertaining. I'm just not a Quentin Tarantino guy. I've seen just about all of his movies once, and that's all I ever want to see him. They don't. I think I don't have. It's like he rings a bell that I don't quite hear. But Argo, I really like and I guess if you say by the book, we make it sound like it's predictable. And while, of course, in the grand scheme it is predictable, it really knows how to ratchet up tension. And Life of Pi, I think, was just gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
I think Argo might win for the best picture, and Life of Pi is the one that I would most like to revisit. Life of Pi is the movie I think that I could get a lot more out of seeing it again.
I like that too. You want me to? Yeah, go ahead, Kimmy. Sorry.
No, honey. I was going to say, I think I agree with Kent on that. I think that the movie that should win is Life of Pi because I think it was beautifully directed. But again, this is not based on the movie alone. I think it's a little political. So it seems like Argo is the favorite right now. It's just won the DGA. It won the Golden Globe Award. It's more than likely it's going to win, whether it should or not.
Well, I think I'm looking like the moron here because I think you guys are correct. Because looking at Intrade, which is deadly accurate, they've got Argo up at like about an 80% chance, and Lincoln's only at a 20. Actually, 74% for Argo. Lincoln's only at a 20%.
What do they have more at?
And they don't have any they don't even have that one listed there. So looking like the momentum's with Argo. So you people out there, Intrade is. They're always right on politics. When you look at the elections, they never seem to be wrong there.
Do they have Christoph Waltz on top for supporting actor? Is that not in there?
He's probably in there somewhere. Let me see. Entertainment.
I know Adam Carolla put money on Christoph Waltz. That generally means it's going to lose.
Yeah, you're right. He always loses. Yeah. I don't see.
Yeah, you got a little Adam Carolla in there. That's good.
We did mention Adam Carolla. By the way, we should do The Hammer sometime.
There's a lot of movies we should do. We need to talk about Groundhog Day.
Adam Carolla's Hammer.
Adam Carolla's Hammer, which is terrific, or it's good, I should say.
Yeah, it's very good. I like it.
May overstate.
Well, you want to recommend a movie for people out there to watch?
Yeah, why not? Let's recommend The Hammer. That's my recommendation. Other than that Rid of Me movie, but The Hammer is a better movie. Yes, you'll enjoy it. Everybody that I've exposed it to has thought it was really fun.
For people who only know Adam Carolla through The Man Show, or maybe even through his radio show, his podcast, The Hammer is disarmingly sweet.
Yeah,
wow,
I'd agree with that. Best supporting actor, by the way. Best supporting, they are looking at Intrade is heavily favoring Tommy Lee Jones, who was my favorite just to win it, because I'd like to see him. Wait a minute, he's at about 53%. Christoph Waltz is only about 20%.
Tommy Lee Jones looks like he's wearing a Tommy Lee Jones mask that is slipped and melted.
Seriously,
he's
kind of old. I think he's allowed to look like a rubber mask at this point in time. He's not 20.
This is interesting though. They have Spielberg. They have the front runner for the director award though at 78%.
Well, how about the actors? The best actor, male. What are they saying?
Best actor on Intrade is heavily favored for Daniel Day-Lewis. He's at 95%.
I am almost 100% certain I would say that is Daniel Day. Yeah.
Actually, that kind of does fit in with my overall opinion of Lincoln. I thought performance phenomenal. Movie good, but not phenomenal.
Right.
So, okay, well, you guys might be right on this. I may have to switch. Actually, looking at In Trade and listening to you guys, I'm throwing my support back for Argo for Best Picture.
Well,
There
now that
you
we've
go.
got Dave on our side, I think it's about time we shut up shop for the week.
I guess so. So we're recommending The Hammer.
Let's sweep up our spotlight, and you guys get that reference there?
No.
Sweep up the spotlight.
No.
Oh, yeah, isn't that
watch the old Carol Burnett show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
So we'll sweep up our spotlight and try to figure out what movie we're going to talk about next week, and hopefully we'll be in a little better shape to do this. This is a fairly sedate meeting of the pretentious movie snobs here. We're all sleepy. Yes, Kimmy's yawning now.
Keep that yawn
yeah.
in.
Kent is walking
that
around.
had nothing
Kent,
to do with me being tired. You guys were boring me for a second.
That's right.
But I'm okay now.
Well, I noticed Kent already has his full-size Scrooge style, big roby blanket pajamas on, and
Yeah.
like a little cap, and he's holding a candle.
The
He's
canopies
walking
are
around.
open on my bed. I'm ready to jump in and hopefully be visited by ghosts in the night.
Do you have a Snuggie? Do you got a Snuggie going or no?
No, it's like a bed sheet with arms.
Okay.
Not like a blanket. So it's more.
Yeah, you look
it's
like
a
a
lot more
flying
revealing
squirrel.
when it's windy and a little
Ooh,
see-through.
hot.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Hold on. Let just fan myself for
And
a
I think we
second.
can leave
Yeah.
you ladies out there with the image of Kent Conner.
That
You
one
don't
time
know
when-
what he looks like, so I could be anything. But
Nothing like a man in a white nightgown or a nightgown. That's very.
Oh, we can talk about my win a date with Kent Conrad contest for next podcast too.
Women
But he
are
looks like a
lining
giant.
up.
He
as
looks
long
like
as
a
the
giant
date takes
fluffy
place
flying.
in my house, it's fine.
He'll take you for a nice home cooked meal prepared.
Yeah, I could get my mom. to take care of that. That's great.
Exactly. Oh, that'll be nice.
Well, Kent looks like a big fluffy flying squirrel in his big pajamas with the big arms sticking out.
I do.
And the legs.
I actually,
I'd
when
like
I
to
was
see
born, I had folds of skin coming down under my beneath my arms too. So that's pretty prescient or insightful of you to say that. Not
You are
prescient
not
because
selling
it already
yourself.
Really?
happened.
What? Wait a minute.
What?
I think we just.
I don't know.
You actually had folds of skin coming down off of your arm. What?
Like the flying
You
squirrel.
had
Stop.
you had webbed armpits.
Like the flying squirrel.
Stop. We're trying to sell you here. Stop.
Oh, that was a joke. I only have webbed toes.
It's not
Wait,
true.
no.
Do you have webbed
People
toes
will
too? I know you
believe
played
it's
water
true.
polo. You were the.
No, I had them installed.
Oh, okay.
All right. I'm Kent Conrad.
And I'm Dave Smith.
And I'm Kimberly Blagrove, and a little tired.
And we were, until moments ago, the pretentious movie snobs. Now we're the sleepy movie snobs, I
Yes,
think.
but we'll be pretentious next week. We
That's
promise.
Yeah, we'll be back. We'll ratchet up the pretentiosity. So, did we put our weight on it? I think we put our weight on
We
it.
put
What,
some weight on it,
Wait on it.
what little weight we had, we put on it.
and a little extra flap of skin. So that was all the weight we needed.
All right.
Okay.
On that note,
What's new with you?
Not much. Still going to the movie tonight?
Oh, sure we are.
What kind of movie are we gonna see?
Well, we'll see. Danny, don't blame too much. It may not come out right.